My name is Roger Lehman. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and this video is to demonstrate the hydrogen fuel cell system that I've installed on my vehicle. I installed this fuel cell system on my vehicle about 2 months ago and have been testing it and working with it since. Prior to the installation of this system on my vehicle, a 2000 Ford cargo van with a 4.7 liter V6, I was getting 16.4 miles per gallon. The lowest measured mileage that I've ever gotten with this system is 23 miles per gallon. That's a 40.2% increase. It took me a while to adjust and fine-tune the system. The highest measured mileage that I've ever received was 40.67 miles per gallon. That's a 148% increase in fuel economy. My most recent mileage test and the mileage that I'm currently sustaining without any problems is 34.5 miles per gallon. That's a 110% increase. As you may or may not know, there are at least a couple hundred different things that can affect your mileage. Anything from low air pressure in your tires to being a quart low on oil, dirty oil, etc., etc. But anyway, these are my results, and I'm currently getting 34.5 miles per gallon. Here's a list of the benefits of installing a hydrogen fuel cell system on your vehicle. Of course, first and foremost, that most people are interested in is the reduced gas costs. My cost per 100 miles, my original mileage that I got my vehicle without the system installed, you can read the figures here on the sheet, but to drive 100 miles at today's gas price, which is $3 per gallon, cost me $18.28. To drive 100 miles with the smallest measured mileage increase that I got after installing this system, my cost went to $13.04. And to drive 100 miles with the mileage I'm currently getting after fine-tuning the system cost me $8.70. So in 2 months' time, I've reduced my cost to drive 100 miles from $18.28 to $8.70. Next item, of course, there's more engine power when you're putting hydrogen and oxygen into your fuel system. You get a lot more power than just running regular gasoline. When I'm still running regular gas, they run together. My engine runs cooler. My engine temperature gauge now runs at 45% of scale and used to run at 67%, which is 2/3 of scale. It can only be good for your engine to run cooler. It's less wear and tear on it. Engine runs cleaner. The deposits that turn your oil black come from unburned gasoline. Since the gasoline in my engine is now combusting in an oxygen-rich environment, it doesn't leave nearly as many deposits in the oil. There's also much less pollution. The only thing coming out of my exhaust pipe at this point is water vapor, and I will demonstrate all these points further. Here are the components of my hydrogen fuel cell system. I'll get in here and take a closer look. I've taken the grill off the front of the van because most of the stuff sits behind the grill. That's the way I installed it. This is a 4.7 liter V6 engine. The vehicle is a 2000 Ford E150 full-size cargo van. Here is the fuel cell itself. I've actually, it comes in a silver color. I've painted the front of it flat black to hide a little better. You can see that the positive cable comes in, attached to the side, negative attaches to the front, and this is all 30 amp current here. There's a hose on the, this is my fill. This is where I fill the fuel cell with electrolyte solution. Sodium bicarb solution is what I'm using right now. You can use sodium bicarb or sodium hydroxide. Sodium bicarb is a little easier, it's more available. It does require more frequent cleaning of the fuel cell, but it's just baking soda. This power for the fuel cell comes off of course, the battery terminal here. We've got an inline 30 amp fuse. We've got two circuits here. I'll show you on these relays. We've got a 30 amp circuit and a 10 amp circuit. For each circuit there's a fuse, the inline fuse, a 30 amp fuse. This is actually the 10 amp circuit. I'm running a 3 amp fuse. That's all it really needs. If we trace the current comes into the fuel cell, rather, heats it up, produces hydrogen and oxygen. Gas comes out the top. You see that I have this looped upward. That's to keep liquid from coming out of the fuel cell. So it comes out here, and then this line goes into the bottom of the bubbler. Goes through this double bubbler system. Comes up this way, down again, up again. Do that again. Into this bubbler, down at the bottom, up to the top, down, into the second bubbler, up, out. Here's the same line back behind the frame. Coming in, it goes through a one-way check valve. That way only, it won't go backwards. From there, it goes into a needle valve, which I can adjust the vacuum, because this whole line, it goes into the vacuum intake, so vacuum is drawing on this line. I can adjust the vacuum intake or the gas that comes from the fuel cell and goes to the vacuum. This way, we come over, come into a solenoid switch. So the solenoid switch does is, when you turn the fuel cell system off, and I can turn the whole system off with a toggle switch inside, it maintains the vacuum pressure in the system. It stops right here when you turn it off. It doesn't go back out. Follow this line around. Hope you can see this. It's a little hard to see in here, but I've actually teed this into my vacuum intake. You can see that, and so that's how we get the gas into the system. We tee it into the vacuum intake. Come around to the side here, show you some of the stuff on the inside. Here is my well, let's start with first things first. Over here I've mounted under the dash my toggle switch. This turns the system on and off, and it's hooked to the ignition, so you can't turn it. You can't turn it on while the ignition's off, which is kind of a nice feature. It wouldn't hurt anything. It might draw your current down on your battery because your engine's not running, but turning it on wouldn't hurt anything. Other than that, it would drain your battery. Up here, I've got the what's called the EFI, the electronic fuel ignition enhancement. Let's see if I can focus on that a little better. Maybe not. This is for a dual O2 sensor engine. Here's an O2 sensor, here's an O2 sensor. These are where you put your multimeter probes in. This is your adjustment screw, and the same thing for this side. The EFI goes in line between your oxygen sensor and your computer, so that, remember, we're injecting oxygen into the system too. When your oxygen level gets too high, that would tell your the O2 sensor would tell your computer to inject more fuel. You don't want to do that, or you lose all your increase in gas mileage. So that's the function of the EFI. It sits in line between the oxygen sensor and the computer, tells the computer don't inject more oxygen. Over here, I've simply got the ammeter. I put, continuing with the components inside, this is the control box, which contains the ammeter here. Actually, this is a CPU fan that I mounted. It's kind of an extra piece. Not really necessary, but it helps to keep the pulse width modulator cool. And underneath here is a little dial that turns the amperage up and down. It controls how much amperage you send to the fuel cell. Here's a shot of my van with the grill back on and the hood shut. Don't really see the fuel cell system that much. And it's very easily accessible. All I have to do is open the hood, and I can take that grill off by removing 3 screws, so I can get at all the components very easily. Alright, you can see I've set my trip meter to 0, and I'm ready to start this road test. There's 1.5 gallons, 1.506 gallons to go. Get a good shot of this. 51.8 miles. My engine is warmed up and running now, and this is my favorite part of the hydrogen fuel cell demonstration. There's absolutely no odor coming out of my tailpipe. That's because the only thing coming out of my tailpipe is water vapor. I ordered my system online from a website called GoTurtlePoop.com. That's a business that's run by a guy by the name of Tom up in Toledo, Ohio. He was very helpful with me, giving me advice in the installation of the system, and I definitely will state that Tom has not paid me 1 penny to endorse this product. I'm endorsing it because the product works. I've seen a lot of hydrogen fuel cell systems that simply do not work. They're not very well designed. They're not very well put together. Tom's system does work. It will give you at least, if you don't get at least a 40% increase in gas mileage, it's 100% money back. My current increase is 110% in gas mileage. I'm paying half of what I paid 2 months ago for gasoline. Here's a summation of the primary benefits of the hydrogen fuel cell system. They're primarily tremendous economical benefits and environmental benefits. Gas costs reduced by 50%, emissions reduced to water vapor. Something to consider. What if everyone in the world with a vehicle could cut their gasoline cost in half? What if the only emission from every vehicle in the world was water vapor? That would definitely be a different world than the one we have now. As I said before, I'm not promoting this system as some sort of a get-rich-quick scheme for myself. I'm promoting it because of the potential that it promotes for our economy and our environment. Also, I'm not in the business of installing fuel cells. For an hourly fee, I help people to do their own installations. There must be about 200 million vehicles in the U.S., and I really don't know how many there are, and I could not possibly install 200 million fuel cells. This movement needs to occur at the grassroots level, with all of us helping each other. The governments of the world are not going to solve the economic crisis or the energy crisis, and in all fairness, it's not their job to solve it. Solving these problems is up to we the people, and we can do it. This is not new technology. The hydrolysis of water was discovered in 1839. Putting a fuel cell on your vehicle is not that complicated. In fact, it's about as complicated as a middle school science project. If I can do this, anyone can. I know that this system can change the world. It's time for us to get busy because we don't have any more time to waste. This is Roger. Thank you. Goodbye.